The statistic I chose to do is geared at evaluating a team rather than an individual player. Throughout this course and my prior knowledge of baseball, most of the statistics are geared at evaluating individual players. I've grown up with the idea that teams win games, not individual players win games. And right now, baseball is geared and focused on evaluating each individual player rather than each team. So I propose a statistic that looks at the efficiency of a team overall. During my research and inspiration for my statistic, I found a current statistic called Defensive Efficiency Ratio, also known as DER. According to MLB, DER is a statistic used to evaluate team defense by finding out the rate of times batters reach base on balls put in play. Basically, for every ball hit into the field, how likely is it to convert that into an out? So here you can see the formula to calculate DER. 1 minus hits minus home runs over plate appearances minus home runs minus balls minus hit by pitch minus strikeouts. So this is how you calculate DER. However, we know that defense is only one half of the game of baseball. So I propose a statistic that looks at offensive efficiency ratio. And this is exactly what I will call my statistic, OER. In order to understand how a team is performing offensively, I think, as a contrast to DER, we should evaluate the rate at which teams turn base runners into runs. So this is basically asking, for every runner on base, how likely is it for the offense to convert that into a run? We know that getting on base is one of the most crucial results to a game, and having more players on base should lead to more runs. So I think it is more than beneficial to take this statistic into consideration. Here you can see the formula. I am approximating base runners by taking plate appearances times on base percentage and finding the ratio of that over runs. So when OER and DER are put together, we kind of get a complete picture of a team's overall performance. We're getting the offensive efficiency and the defensive efficiency. So as mentioned before, we could see the definition of defensive efficiency ratio. And again, just as a reminder, it's a statistic used to evaluate team defense by finding out the rate of times batters reach base on balls put in play. Again, we see the statistic formula. And then we come down to the offensive side of this, which is the statistic I propose, OER. OER, again, is calculated by plate appearances times on-base percentage over runs. And this is basically giving us an idea of how likely it is for an offense to convert that base runner into a run. So we go on to calculate OER for each individual team. And here is a look at a comparison of OER between all the teams. See that Boston has the lowest EER, which means that they are the most efficient, followed by Colorado. So in order to gauge how well OER is evaluating a team's offensive performance, what we can do is compare it to some current statistics. So the first comparison I did was to batting average. And although batting average may not be the best representation of a team's offense, I think that batting average is a part of baseball. And whether you know baseball or not, you have an idea of what batting average is. We can see that there is some correlation between OER and batting average, depicted here. We get an R squared of about 42%. We go on to compare OER to runs created, and runs created is a statistic that is most similar to OER. It estimates a player's offensive contribution in terms of total runs. It combines a player's ability to get on base with his ability to hit for extra bases. Then it divides those two by the player's total opportunities. So like I mentioned before, it's pretty similar to OER, however they are measuring different things. And here we see a much greater correlation between OER and RC rather than the batting average. And again, we get an R squared of about 80%, which is higher than we saw before. And finally, since we're trying to understand a team's overall performance, in this case, we're looking at their winning performance, I figured it'd be great to compare OAR to wins. And here again, we see it's less correlated. We might be able to make the case that there is some correlation, but again, this is just looking at wins in terms of offense. And again, we know that what wins baseball games isn't just offense. We have to take into consideration defense as well. So when we start incorporating DER, now we can kind of get an entire picture of how well a team is performing. So what I did here is I graphed DER by OAR for each MLB team in the year 2016. The orange dots represent teams that went to playoffs, while the blue dots represent teams that did not make it to playoffs. And just as a reminder, the more efficient an offensive team is performing, the lower the OER will be. The opposite is true for DER. The higher the DER, the more efficient the defense is performing. So what we would expect to see is high-performing teams falling in this upper left quadrant. And we can see that 7 out of the 10 teams that make it to playoffs landed in this quadrant. This leads us to believe that OER in combination with DER can give us an overall representation of how well a team will perform.